Then we go to chapter 12, verse 41. Now let's jump back to the time of Joseph, 1800 BC. So now we're 400 years even earlier. And here, the Pharaoh, that's a problem as well, because we know there are no pharaohs at that time. But he says, "O two companions of the prison, as for one of you, he will pour out wine for his Lord to drink, and as for the other, he will be crucified." So here we have three references to two crucifixions in two different time periods, 400 years apart. Here's the problem. Crucifixions were never ever used in Egypt, first of all.
And not even used.
Secondly, we don't have any references to any crucifixions until the Phoenicians actually invent this process, and that's 500 BC. But in this case, with Moses, we're talking about 1400 BC, and we're talking about 1800 BC, which is 1,000 to 1,300 years much too early.
Right.
Allah just was ahead of his time. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, the Scripture Plug.Albert, and today we're going to be reacting to another video from Dr. J. Smith and Alpha D talking about the historical inaccuracies of the Quran. How in the world can they fix their face to say that the Quran is inaccurate in any way, especially historically, when the Quran is written by the eternal word of Allah, the all-powerful, almighty, all that stuff, 100 words, 99 names that describe this brother, and they think they're gonna fix their face to say that historically it's wrong, that the speech of Allah got some things messed up. Well, we're about to see what they're talking about. We're about to see if it's real or not. So let's get into it and let's learn something.
This is the chainmail. Coats of chainmail. That's what you use. These small little pieces of mail that keep the swords from piercing into you. Very effective in.
That's a military uniform.
It's a military uniform, and according to chapter 34 of the Quran, verse.
Oh boy, they got pictured there. Looks like a doofy though. I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna hold you. I want to be scared of this brother right here. I'd probably just Spartan kick this brother in the chest. He don't look like he's really about that action.
10 to 11. It says, "And we certainly gave David," this is David, the King David that we know in the Bible, "and we made pliable for him iron, commanding him, make full coats of mail and calculate precisely the links." So it's even referring to the links that you have, the one link after another that interchangeable, that keeps it together and puts it on as a like a coat, like you see in the picture there. Now, stop and think this through. David lived in 1000 BC.
Right.
Coats of chainmail were not invented till 200 BC. That's 800 years later. You cannot have chainmail at the time of David. Can you? Now, that's a...
Hold on, y'all. Let's go check this real quick. I want to see what the Quran says because I want to make sure that they're getting these sources right. And we're going to check Sheikh Google to make sure that they got the timing right too. So here we are, Surah 34:10, and we got many different translations of the Quran up here, so you know we can get it all up here. So we got right here. We certainly gave David from us. That's wild. That us right there is wild. Bounty. We, very much so wild too, said, "O mountains, repeat our." Very wild. Praises with him and the birds as well. And we, man, it's just made pliable for him iron. So, you know what I'm saying? This, whoever this we, us, and our, the one person of Allah, you know, speaking in the plural of majesties, even though, you know, that wasn't a thing yet. Though we see it that the iron, you know, is in soft form, you know, pliable, you know. So now we get down to 34:11, commanding him, make full coats of mail and calculate precisely the links and work all of you righteousness. Indeed, I, now it's, you know, it's just the one now, of what you do am seeing. Okay, it's there. Now let's check Sheikh Google real quick. So here we go with Sheikh Google. We right here with the AI overview. The AI overview saying 3rd century BC. So we see that, you know, sometimes you can rock with the AI overview. Sometimes, you know, you want to keep diving in, but we're just here for a quick search anyway. We ain't really trying to get all deep into it because we ain't trying to make this a dumb long video. So we got right here Wikipedia. We don't rock with that, but Wikipedia saying 3rd century BC. We scroll down a little bit. We see chainmail 4th century. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? 5th century. Okay, a little bit later, you know, from the mini museum. Let's keep scrolling. Knight's Edge, yada yada. So 500 BC. Okay, you know. Okay, cool. The Bronze Age, cool. You know, Britannica. What they saying? They saying late Roman times. Okay, whatever. I don't need to get all up into there. Chainmail, the, you know, Celtic folks, Armory Smith. You know, 2,000 years old. So that puts it. Well, actually, that's probably like the earliest one we're looking at now. chainmail review, what they saying? They saying, okay, y'all see that right there. Cool, cool, cool. But okay, the first page, and again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is end all be all. All I'm saying is shake Google off the rip. First page is generally agreeing with them. The latest is 500 BC. And the earliest is obviously, what it is that actually that 2000 years ago one, but ultimately, cool. We can see that he's in the ballpark. It wasn't at the time that David was alive, though. Let's get back into it.
Problem, because if the Muslims really want to think that this is historical, you've
Right.
got to take that verse out of the Quran.
Get it up
Because
out of
you
there.
cannot have this that early.
Aggregation.
So here's 3 different times when it's gone way too early. Not only with the Samaritan, we also have it with the mosque. I want to go to one that is way too early, and that's the next one. So let's go to the next one, and this is a crucifixion. In the Quran, it talks in chapter 7, verse 121 to 124, that Pharaoh said to the sources at the time of Moses in 1400 B, and he says this: "Indeed, this is a conspiracy which you conspired in the city to expel therefrom its people, but you are going to know I will surely cut off your hands and your feet in opposite sides. Then I will surely crucify you all." This is, Moses is there. He is creating all these amazing miracles, doing things that the sorcerers cannot do. And Pharaoh is upset with his sorcerers because they cannot keep up with Moses. So he turns to him and says, "I will surely crucify you." That's in chapter 7. In chapter 20, it's the same thing as basically repeated, where Pharaoh turns to the magicians and he says, "We believed in him before I gave you permission. Indeed, he is your leader who has taught you magic. So I will surely cut off your hands and your feet on opposite sides, and I will crucify you on the trunks of palm trees, and you will surely know which of us is more severe." So here we're talking in 1400 BC.
This might be childish. Now, real quick, this just came to my mind. I'm probably a jerk for saying this. I'm not trying to be a jerk. But is Allah projecting onto Pharaoh right now? Is Allah projecting the words onto Pharaoh? Because it's saying that he will cut off your hands and your feet on opposite sides. Aren't your hands and your feet on opposite sides anyway? But the reason I ask that is because when it comes to Allah, he don't got no opposite side. Not at least for his hands anyway, because he got the 2 on the right side. So is he projecting now? Is he projecting? He's like, "Hey, yo, since y'all got opposites, I'm getting them," even though that's usually how it's supposed to be. But I got these 2. That's wild, man. Allah is petty, big petty, projecting. Pharaoh ain't say this. Pharaoh did not say this. Allah threw that in there. He misquoted Pharaoh right here. I know it. But with that being said, Muslims, what's going on, huh? What's going on? Why does it seem like Allah is literally saying crucifix? Why does it seem like Allah is literally saying crucifixion, and crucifixion doesn't seem like it was a thing until a lot later? A lot later. I'd never read in the Torah about anything about the time of Joseph and or Moses where there was crucifixion. Never have I ever. I haven't seen it. Haven't seen that, the anywhere in even probably the Jewish midrash. I'm not gonna say that I looked at all of the different references that they have, but man, it seems like they just be making some stuff up. Let me know down below if you're Muslim. How do you respond to this? What is the answer? Why is crucifixion being talked about here when it wasn't even a thing yet? Let me know down below. Let's get back to the video.
See, he's talking about crucifixion of these magicians, these sorcerers who cannot keep up with Moses. That's 1400 BC. Then we go to chapter 12, verse 41. Now let's jump back to the time of Joseph, 1800 BC. So now we're 400 years even earlier. And here, the Pharaoh, that's a problem as well, because we know there are no pharaohs at that time. But he says, "O 2 companions of the prison, as for one of you, he will pour out wine for his Lord to drink, and as for the other, he will be crucified." So here we have 3 references to 2 crucifixions in 2 different time periods, 400 years apart. Here's the problem. Crucifixions were never ever used in Egypt, first of all.
And not even used.
Secondly, we don't have any references to any crucifixions until the Phoenicians actually invent this process, and that's 500 BC. But in this case, with Moses, we're talking about 1400 BC, and we're talking about 1800 BC, which is 1,000 to 1,300 years much too early.
Right.
Allah just was ahead of his time. You know what I'm saying? He was just ahead of the time, ahead of the game, just apparently letting folks know what would eventually be happening. He was projecting on the Pharaoh. Pharaoh really ain't say this for real, for real. He just wanted to get it out there that, he got the two right hands. So he just wanted to make it seem like the Pharaoh was like, you know what? Because Allah got two right hands on the same side, I'm going to take both your hands and feet off the opposite sides, even though your hands and your feet are on the opposite sides. That's all that is, man. That's all that is.
And notice the amazing thing. It was invented 500 BC, meaning 500 before the coming of Christ, yet Isaiah prophesied about Christ, the suffering servant, to be crucified, pierced for our sins 200 years before this happened.
Absolutely. Isn't that interesting? So you ask the same question of the Bible here.
Yeah.
The Bible gets it correct. The Bible even gets the action of persecution correct. You pierce the hands, you pierce the feet 200 years before it happened. The Quran not only gets it incorrect, gets it, in this case, 1,000 to 1,300 years out of date. But obviously, it gets this incorrect. But next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you where they get a crucifixion they should have got right. They get that even wrong. But that's coming up next.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, brother. And of course, next time we will be focusing on the same theme, except different examples.
Here's a crucifixion that they should have got.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Can't wait.
Thank you, everyone.
Check it out. So that was Alfred Deed and Dr. J. Smith as they break down historical errors in the Quran. Now, for you Muslim folks, don't cry. Don't do anything like that. Don't try to bring up some other things about the Bible and yada, yada. No, I want to know, how in the world do you answer for these? A lot of people love this crying complaint, say, oh, you are learning Islam from these people. No, I'm just watching a video and I want y'all to teach your boy. That's it. That's all. I want y'all to refute them. I want to see what it is that y'all got to say in the comments to say, oh, well, why is Pharaoh talking about crucifixion thousands of years before, or at least 1,000 years before it actually happened? That's what I want to know. I want to know why in the world are they talking about chainmail when it wasn't invented yet? Let me know. I want y'all to prove them wrong and prove your sources right. With that being said, man, you see the ticker's been going down below the whole time. Like, share, subscribe to Vibe Out with your boy. Hit that noti bell so you'll be notified anytime I drop with these reactions, and also go live and have conversations, stuff like that. Love y'all. Catch y'all next time. God bless. This is your boy. We out, though.